Yesterday, the admins rolled a very interesting set of patch notes to the forging update on the alpha server. And I think some of them are actually worth talking about because it kind of brings into question the whole compensation system, as well as just some changes that they're making that are kind of interesting. There's a lot of really good stuff that they did address in this first batch of patch notes. But it doesn't feel finished, or I hope it's not. So we're going to be talking about that all today. So if you're excited for that, and my opinion on basically what they should do to make this system fair, then yeah, leave a like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's jump into it. We have a lot to talk about today. I think there's no doubt in a lot of people's minds that the actual content being added into this update is quite good. I think the forging update is overall looking quite enjoyable. I think the new attribute system as a whole is really solid. I like how many different attributes there are. They're making adjustments to different parts of the game. For example, in this batch of patch notes, they actually made it so that the tier 4 blazes or blaze slayer is 30% easier basically because of the loss of vitality that we will get from maxing vitality on the alpha versus what we can currently get on the main server with old attributes. So I think that's really good. They're kind of going through and making adjustments like that, which is really good and really healthy for the game and the new system. I think what the issue is what we're getting back in return for previously grinded content. Basically, if you no-lifed alpha, or sorry, if you no-lifed Kudra, you aren't getting rewarded in a fair manner at all, in my opinion. So we're going to jump into that because feathers, the attribute refunds, a lot of things aren't that balanced in my opinion. And it could be an issue, I'm going to be honest. So I have a couple of examples that I want to show on the new alpha. So what they did, they basically made some changes to everything that's refunded, from the amount of attributes you get to the amount of feathers that you get when you actually hand in the god roll. For those of you who don't know, if you hand in a god roll on the alpha server, or what will be the forging update, you will get these anak feathers or anank or whatever you want to call them. Basically what they do is they allow you to add progress to your RNG meter, which I think is an interesting system, an interesting idea that they came up with. It differs depending on what you hand it into, but you can basically add it towards an alloy, you can add it towards a claymore if you want, you can add it to any slayer drop, including dyes, or you can add it to any tier 7 or anything from the experimentation table. Those are the current RNG mirrors we have in the game. Now, I think that's okay because it does return some type of monetary value for some of these insane drops. Like god rolls, or some of these god rolls are genuinely worth hundreds of millions of coins. Like mana pool, mana regen, you were talking about like hundreds of millions of coins on an Aurora piece, and that should be compensated in some way. And so feathers are what they have come up with to kind of match some type of monetary value that you are handing in. Now, I think the bigger issue, we'll get back to feathers in a second, but the actual attributes you get refunded. So for example, I have a bunch of pieces that aren't god roll, but still cost me quite a few coins to get. Some of these attributes are worth a decent amount, especially when you get them up to tier 10. So let's imagine some of these attributes are tier 10. So for example, we have Breeze 5 on this Terror chestplate. If I go to hand this in, obviously this is only at tier 5, I will get 4 Breeze attributes to your hunting box and 2 Veteran, even though the Veteran is at level 4. Now, this isn't a great refund. Like this, you're like, okay, cool, you get some attributes towards the new system. The Apex Dragon Shards actually are good, but for example, let's look at Breeze. Let's say you have a Breeze set or Breeze Mana Pool Aurora set that's 10-10, right? And you hand that in, you will not get any feathers. It is not deemed a god roll. The only Aurora pieces that are a god roll are Mana Pool, Mana Regen, according to the admins, which is understandable. You have to draw the line somewhere. But Breeze 10 costs like somewhere between the neighborhood of like 60 to 80 million coins. And so let's say you grind that out. At level 10, I believe you get 128 shards back. So let's say we got 128 Breeze shards, right? Great. We got a bunch of attributes back for something that we grinded, spent millions upon tens of millions of coins getting, not to mention doing the runs, combining all the pieces. Lots of work probably went into getting that 10 stack of Breeze. Now, the one thing is that Breeze isn't as hard to get as it is in the update. And this kind of comes down to the overarching issue of attributes when they first came out. Because you can have Breeze 10 on a Rampart piece, for example, that obviously costed you less and less time than getting Breeze 10 on an Aurora piece. Now, this is the overarching issue because how do you quantify those as different values? I guess you need to go piece by piece. But the attributes being refunded genuinely don't matter. Breeze is so easy to get, just as an example, in the new update, that you may as well not get it back. You get Breeze from Wither Specters, okay? Wither Specters are so easy to get. Someone timed themselves getting 1 Breeze shard from a Wither Specter on the alpha server, and it took them less than 8 seconds. So let's say you got 128 of them back. You are genuinely saving yourself 10 minutes versus the probably hours upon hours and tens of millions of coins you spent getting Breeze 10 on the main server. So not exactly a fair compensation, and because it's not a god roll, that's all you get. All you get is basically 10 minutes worth of attributes that you can grind in the update, or the nearly 100 hours you spent probably trying to get that full set, right? Not exactly a fair compensation. Attributes back, I get it. I get that they want to give something back for all the other things. They should. I just don't know if giving attributes back, even for this system, is the right thing to do. I honestly say, in my opinion, don't give back any attributes. Find a different thing that reimburses them, and let people play out the new content. And like us getting hundreds of Wither Spectre frags back, or shards, whatever you want to call them, is not a big deal. Like, genuinely, it'll take you like 10 minutes to beyond max it out. So there's a bunch of different options like that. I mean, some that are obviously less relevant. Like, I have arthropod resistance. For some reason, if you grinded that to level 10, I don't think it should really have much of a refund either, but that's from like voracious spiders. Shiny fish shard is interesting. What's that from? Help from above. I don't even know what attribute that is. That is interesting. Let me hand those in and see where you get those really quickly. Lobby is a little laggy though. Let's go /hunting box. And where is the shiny fish? There it is. Okay, shiny fish. Is this life regen? Is that what this is? So if I go attribute menu really quickly, where help from above. How do you get this? Caught using the starbait attribute. Okay, I don't know anything about that one. That one might be worth getting a refund on. But some of these genuinely aren't. Like, some of these are so easy to get that it's kind of absurd. Like, I don't know. Like, some of these are difficult, but the ones that people have a lot of are really not that hard to kind of reobtain in the update. So getting any attributes back kind of just feels useless. Like, dominance is thorn shards. Sure, great. Mana regen is XYZ shards, which I believe is literally just the X, Y's, and Z's in like the Crimson Isle. I can't imagine that being overly difficult to max out or get a ton of. And the attributes aren't supposed to be this hard thing to get, but the problem is when you're refunding hundreds upon hundreds of hours of people getting 10/10 attributes on these different Kutra pieces, and that was kind of the issue where I feel like attributes should have been able to be gotten from multiple sources, or like just the whole system when they released it just allowed us to be stuck kind of in this situation of now what, no matter how many attributes you get back, they give you 500 for a tier 10. And it literally will basically never equivalent to the amount of work and effort that went into getting that 10/10 piece from Kudra. It'll just never line up. And I think that's where the overarching issue is. So the only thing that really matters from this update is if you have god rolls, you will get some feathers. And they even lowered the amount of those that you get. So basically, like, feathers are the only thing meaningful that you get in return. These attributes don't really mean much because they are way easier to get now versus the time you would have committed to this on like the old server on Kudra. So it's just a weird system. But let's talk about the feathers, because that's like kind of the only bit of like refund that matters in my opinion. So jumping over to a form, or I guess you could say Google Sheets, that the admins actually gave to us in the forum post, basically allowing us to see everything that will give feathers, the new adjusted amounts, previous and revised. So as I was saying, now what's interesting about this is they had to determine fully everything that is a god roll, right? Now, the problem is you're going to have people such as Toad or Squid, for example, who have deemed other attribute combinations as their god roll because it might be best for them based on their current situations, or it helps them out a little bit more. So they invested hundreds upon hundreds of millions of coins, or like hundreds of hours playing Kudra and maxing out these sets. For example, Toadstar really enjoys Vitality Magic Find, I want to say. Now, obviously, they haven't valued Vitality Magic Find, as you can see here, as high as Magic Find Veteran, because Magic Find Veteran is just arguably better in every sense of the way. There's other ways to get Vitality, and so wasting that slot in your Crimson is kind of not the best option in my opinion. But the refund on it is much lower. Like Toad arguably spent as much time getting a Magic Find Vitality set as he would have if he actually did decide to go for Magic Find Veteran. I know he's dropped a couple Magic Find Veteran God rolls, so him deciding to go for Magic Find Vitality and basically having the payout be less than a fourth of what the other thing is, he's basically getting almost nothing in return. He's going to be getting Vitality and Magic Find Shards, sure. Vitality Shards are going to be a guaranteed drop from Kudra once the update rolls. And Magic Find Shards are from Cinderbats, which I also did some testing. While being a little tedious, isn't the end of the world to grind out. Yeah, so he's left with not much of a refund. He's going to be getting 2 Anank Feathers for every one of those God rolls he's handing in. Actually, even less. Magic Find Vitality on the chest plate gives 1. Leggings gives 2. I don't know why that's even different, to be honest. Magic Find Vitality 1 for the boots. And is there not even a refund on the helmet if it's not Magic Find Veteran? So yeah, probably leaving some room to be desired. From his full set, he's gonna get like 4 Anank Feathers, which is a little disappointing compared to if he went all out on Magic Find Feathered. He'd be getting 9, 18, 27, 34 feathers if he went all Magic Find Veteran, which is quite the difference. But that's the problem, and it's what everyone puts their eyes on as value. So I know they're trying their best to kind of line up the refunds based on what they're seeing on the auction house. Now, somewhere that I actually have some issues, in my opinion, is Hellfire Rods. They deemed Hellfire Rods as too easy to get the attributes on, even though obviously when you get up to the higher tiered attributes on a Hellfire Rod, like I spent a lot of time fishing and using all my resources just on crafting up those attributes. And before I would have gotten 8 Anank Feathers, they've now deemed every single rod as 0. Now, I've put a lot of time in, and there's no refund on that besides a couple of attributes back, which once again, as we were going over, the attributes back, in my opinion, is like a non-issue. Like it's whether they give them to us or not, it's not a crazy time save. They basically don't matter in the grand scheme of things, the amount that we're getting back. And yeah, so basically what I'm getting back from this is my attributes will be gone and I won't have anything in return. Even though my Hellfire Rod with decent attributes, I have 8 attributes on it, carries a decent amount of value over a regular Hellfire Rod, but that's just not being compensated, as you can see. There's a couple other things that I just find like weird, and like there's just not many feathers being given back. Like they're really holding these back, and if this is really the only thing that we're going to be getting in return, it's kind of just unfortunate. I get it. They're also making Anank Feathers a drop from Kudra. They're like a 1 in 300 drop chance from actually running the floors. But just in comparison, like Squid is going to be getting probably over a stack of feathers from all of his Kudra time and the God rolls that he's accumulated over time. But if that refund system wasn't in turn and he just did his 1500 Infernal Kudra runs as normal, like with the new loot pool, he'd literally end up with like a handful of feathers, and that's it. So they're making them a lot rare. So if you want to grind them out, you still can. I recommend running some Kudra because, yeah, some of these attributes just don't give a ton. Like Lifeline Mana Pool, you're getting 3 feathers now. Or like there's just so many times where it's been kind of brought down to nothing. And it's a little bit of an issue in my opinion. It is. Like the only Vanquish piece that actually gives anything back in return is Gas Cloak, and it's giving 2. Like all the other 3 that I grinded out, nothing in return. Like I spent genuinely days working on combining up those attributes, but no type of refund. So yeah, it's a weird system. I don't know if this is gonna be its final form. It's odd. I hope to see some changes because right now it doesn't really feel like we're getting much in return, but I understand you have to draw the line somewhere, but this fully benefits everyone who just, like, if you avoided Kudra this whole time, ever since they added it into the game, you are in almost a near identical spot to someone who sunk in thousands of hours, and I think that's wrong. Now, I know this video was kind of focusing a lot on the negative sides of the refunds. There's a lot of really good things in this forum post that they posted of like the changes to the alpha server, from basically requiring 60% less Crimson Essence to max out a set and get it to 15 star, which is amazing. This should have been done a long time ago. Before, it used to take on average 3,700 runs to max out a set. Now it's around 1,100. That is a great change, and I don't think anyone really has anything to say about that besides, yes, obviously everyone who's sitting there with 15 star sets, like everything in this kind of just makes anyone who grinded out Kudra before receive less and less. Like, for example, like you're going to be getting more Crimson Essence in the update, and it's going to be easier. So anyone who actually did those 3,700 runs, I know there's like one Iron Man player with a 15-15 set. Yeah, GG's, man. That is beyond unlucky. It's gonna be so much faster in the update, and I do believe that they should make grinds that are unproportionately long for no reason shorter. But these are like changes that should have been made like right away when you know these numbers off of launch. Like you know that, oh, if someone wants to max the set, it's gonna take them 3,700 Kudra runs just for one set. Maybe we should tweak that like right away instead of waiting a couple years until everyone's just like came to the realization this is how it's going to be and grinded it out. Just weird decisions like that, but I do think there's a lot of really good balancing and changes in the forum post. Highly recommend you read through it. It's on the hypixel.net thread, so like in the forums. Highly recommend giving it a read. There's a lot of interesting things, but unfortunately, I think that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy a little bit of a rant, I guess you could say, about some of the refund changes that they've kind of come to the realization of. Hopefully, I explained it well. I have it a certain way in my head, and I don't know if I actually articulated that. So if I did, let me know. If I didn't, also let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Use code Zach when checking out in the Hypixel store. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, and peace out.